back again, back on the grindstone, and we're going to do two topics for the price of one. And one is about somebody coming to the WWE, and one is about another person who has signed with the WWE. And sorry, I just went through puberty right there. Now, what were we going to talk about? Right. Jim Ross, the Ross Report, he did a podcast with Kurt Angle. Very interesting. And with Kurt Angle, you can always expect some lunacy with that guy because you never know what that man's going to come out with. But he said one thing that really got everybody's attention and has got everybody writing on the internet. And he said, basically, that he hasn't signed his extension with TNA just yet. And this has led to a lot of speculation that we will see Kurt Angle return to WWE. And I want to know how people feel about that. I want to know if people are genuinely excited at the prospect of him going to WWE. I want to know if people genuinely feel there is a legitimate shot that he's going to end up back there by the end of the year. And come Royal Rumble and WrestleMania, it's going to be Kurt Angle in one of the big matches of WrestleMania. I want to know if people think he's had his time with TNA and it's time for him to move on. I want to know what everybody feels about that, because to me personally, this is how I feel about the situation. Given the things that are out there about TNA, given the things that have been written about TNA, given the fact that we've seen a lot of name talent leave TNA because TNA cannot afford to pay them, given the fact that AJ Styles, who is nowhere near as big a name as Kurt Angle, has now gone to New Japan and does a lot of indie dates because TNA can't afford him. Given that we have seen Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian and Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair and RVD all go, and Sting go, and a lot of it is to do with monetary issues and not being able to afford them, and them kind of restructuring and rescaling and what have you. Given all of that, I don't see Kurt Angle working for anything less than what he believes he's worth. And I reckon that Angle and Jeff Hardy are the two highest paid people in the company. And I think that when contracts come up for renewal, they're pretty much going to want the same amount. And if Kurt isn't going to get the same amount, he could potentially go to WWE and earn about as much, if not more, going there in a bigger promotion with more money. Now, the only thing is with the WWE network, obviously that's going to affect pay. But the idea of him returning to the WWE is one that we've flirted with for a while, and an idea that we talk about a lot on here, and I want to talk about it. See, I know about 3-4 years ago, the idea of him going back to WWE popped up in 2009, and there was apparently interest on his side about going there, and it seemed like all was forgiven with Vince after he, did these scathing interviews when he left. Because he didn't really leave on the best of terms, and obviously that was to do with his physical well-being. And things didn't turn out so well, and it looked like he wasn't going to be back there for a long time. A lot of bad blood and bitter feeling between the two parties, obviously, with his neck injuries and all his injuries, and him feeling like they owed him something, and vice versa, and all of this stuff. I thought that relationship was really, really severed and badly damaged. But, bad and severed, damaged relationships can be repaired if both sides want to. And in the world of business, if there's one thing I've learned, all can be forgiven when there's major money to be made. Just ask Rampage Jackson in the UFC back in 2009. Anyways. But then I heard that they got put off signing him because of that situation with that woman that he was seeing. I can't remember her name at the top of my head. That woman he was seeing, and then all the bad press it got. And with them being a big PG company, they don't want that kind of press with Kurt Angle. They think he's a risk. Now, fast forward, apparently, according to Dave Meltzer, Kurt was on a plane with some of the WWE guys, and there was something with him going on there that really put them off and said, no, he's a physical wreck. And it's even been said that Vince McMahon has been quoted as saying, I don't want an Olympic gold medalist dying on my watch. So they obviously think he's still a health risk. And I know he couldn't pass a UFC physical back in 2009. So I know that there is a lot of concerns still about his health from their side. But given the way that certain people have been signed to certain contracts, I would not be surprised if they sign him to one of those part-timer deals like Chris Jericho and RVD and Brock Lesnar, and we see him for a little bit, then he's out, then they cycle in someone else, and then he comes back, and then he's in for a bit with a big program, and then he's out again. I would not be surprised if he's under that kind of contract. And Triple H is the main person behind those kind of contracts, and we have Brock Lesnar under that contract, and we've seen The Rock come back under that contract, we've seen Chris Jericho come back on that contract, and RVD. And I think if anything, if you're going to give anyone that kind of deal, I think Kurt would be the guy, because the guy can still go, despite he's just not in his prime anymore. He can still get it done. He's still a proficient talker on the microphone. He's a fantastic promo. And I do see a lot of programs for him when he comes back. A lot of great matches or just big matches for him. Obviously, I think him and Dolph Ziggler would have a fantastic match. Well, Dolph kind of means nothing nowadays, but that would be a great little tune-up match for him to come back to. I think him and Dean Ambrose would be very interesting. Him and Roman Reigns, I think he could really elevate Roman. I think he'd really elevate Roman Reigns. He'd get the best out of him. That would be another one. Him and Seth Rollins would be absolutely mind-blowing if you know, talking about working with younger talent. Him and Bray Wyatt would be very, very interesting because there's never been any interactions there. That would be fascinating to watch. He could probably do a program with Rusev, and I actually think he'd be tailor-made for a program with Rusev, given it's Kurt Angle and how the two of them are presented. That could be very interesting. It would probably hit some interesting patriotic themes there. What else would there be? He could obviously have, you know, big matches with established guys that he hasn't been in there with. He's always has had chemistry with Cena, but do you want to see another Cena Angle match? He's got, you know, maybe one more match with Randy Orton. I wouldn't mind seeing him and Jericho. I would love to see him and Hunter go at it one more time, personally. That would be great. And then there's the obvious option. And we all know who I'm talking about. The one person that we always talk about, we all fan jizz over when it comes to wanting to see these two people in there together. And when we talk about Kurt Angle coming back to the WWE, we can't talk about Kurt Angle coming back to WWE without the idea of a big match with him and Daniel Bryan. And obviously that would be the money match of money matches, Daniel Bryan and Kurt Angle. And given Daniel Bryan's developments, given how fantastically well-rounded he is, that to me is a WrestleMania match. That is a WrestleMania match. 30 minutes, even an Iron Man match, that would be phenomenal, and I wouldn't mind seeing that. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Kurt Angle and Brock Lesnar do something. Obviously CM Punk would be an option, but he's not even there anymore. But Daniel Bryan and Kurt Angle would be something I'd love to see. I've talked about it before. Perhaps those options are there, and I know Angle would definitely be highly interested in doing all of those matches. Obviously there would be Swagger, but Swagger doesn't mean anything anymore. But, Cesaro, let's not forget that. Him and Cesaro would be another great one. There's a lot of options for him and a lot of programs and a lot of great matches for him to do on the schedule. And I think that he could be enticed to go in there. It's more, how's his health, how's his well-being, and how's he going to be? Because they don't want that backlash and that bad press if they sign him. And speaking of signing, from what I understand, Kenta is officially going to sign with WWE, and it's going to be announced today. And what do I think on that briefly? I'll tell you what I think and what I feel. This is what I think and I feel. They have signed a top talent. I know he came there for some kind of tryout workout, and it's good to see WWE be a bit more open-minded when it comes to signing talent. My only fear, because Kenta is a fantastic talent, I love watching him wrestle, and I think he's one of my top 5 wrestlers to watch outside of the WWE. I think he's phenomenal. He's a junior heavyweight, fantastic talent. Had a fantastic match with Chris Hero in Ring of Honor a few years back, and with Davey Richards as well. My only fear with Kenta is if they do what they did with Sin Cara, and it looks like they're going up because they're going to do a big press conference for it. If they do what they did with Sin Cara, with Kenta, they promote him, they want him to be the guy, but they don't give him enough time to adjust to the style and put him in there with the right people for the first year of his run. He's going to end up damaged. The other fear I have is he's going to end up like a Yoshitatsu, who's a very good wrestler, very good hand, but they play him up as a stereotype, and his moveset is just limited to kicks, chops, and the commentator saying he has an extensive martial arts background. I've always found it hilarious when you get these Oriental wrestlers and they're doing their kicks, and then Michael Cole's like, look at that jiu-jitsu, and I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake, Michael. But if they use him right, he could be fantastic. And again, it's World Wrestling Entertainment. World Wrestling Entertainment. And why not give the company a more international feel? And for your tours in Japan, he could be a fantastic addition. The other thing is, I don't think he speaks much English at all. So that will be the other thing. But I think what they should do then is, in the interim that he learns English, he has a mouthpiece. And maybe having someone like Paul Heyman would be a great addition. That'd be a hell of a group, actually. Cesaro, Kenta, and Lesnar. That'd be interesting. Give him a mouthpiece. Maybe even Zeb Coulter. I don't know. But he needs a mouthpiece, I think, for the first year of him being there. And I think he needs a lot of promotion. And he needs to be in there with guys who know his style. Daniel Bryan would be one guy. Jericho kind of would be another guy. Who else could kind of work that? Cesaro would be another guy. Guys who know that kind of style, but know the American style and know how to get him to adjust. Those are the people he needs to be in there with. I just don't want to see him become wasted talent, but I'm happy to see him there, and I think he will add something fresh, but I don't want to see him stuck in NXT and then just not doing anything after that. Anyways, I'm going to stop because I am getting severely dehydrated with all this talking. If you haven't seen me before, hello, I'm Buff Been Stuffed. Hit that comment button, hit the comments down below, hit the subscribe button for more, share, retweet, like, tell your friends, tell your family, and I need to get the hell out of here. So guys, take care and peace.